All right, we will call our Parks Commission meeting to order for August 2023 at 6:01 p.m. And for our first order of business, approval of minutes for July. I will move to approve the minutes for July with just a couple edits for others to consider. On 5B, at the beginning and at the end, there's above the addresses and below the addresses, it says temporary. And removing the word temporary in those two spots. And then 5C, regarding the ordinance, 1, 2, 3, 4, about 5 lines down, it says Planning Department. That should say Plan Commission. And then after that, it says CEDA, which is the acronym for, and we're going to instead use Community Economic Development Authority.
What was the first one? I know you sent them to me. So.
Yeah. On item 5C, it said the first time you referred to the plan and you wrote Planning Department, but it was the Plan Commission.
Plan Commission, okay.
And that's right before you have CEDA, CEDA. And my other suggestion is to take CEDA off and write it out.
Can do that.
That's what I see.
And if
second the minutes as amended.
That's Dave.
Yep. You were saying, Scott?
Yes, well, in regards to the temporary for Hillside Heights, when I look back at my notes, what I had written down is that it was a straight line temporary fence until the final plan is determined, which I was to present in August.
Okay. So, right, but the motion then, though, still is for the permanent fence. And then the plan, the inner workings of the plan to put that into effect was the 2 stages. So we're okay with it as amended, the minutes? Anybody else have anything else? Okay. Those in favor of the minutes as amended, say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, that minutes are approved as amended. Public appearances for non-agenda items. We have citizen Patrick Cheney who wishes to speak.
Hi, I had preferred that this be after the communication items, just in case Scott did want to add something in at the last minute, but the chair prefers that I be under public appearance non-agenda items, which is fine. In my opinion, the communication items should have included something about the pickleball courts, the additions being made to them, the tournament that's coming up in mid-August, and in other words, let the commission know in advance of what's going on over there, what's in progress, what's coming up, rather than after the fact in the September meeting when there's nothing you can do about any of it. I do see changes going on over there. Slats have been added. Up until a couple days ago, I saw it looked like it was all ready for asphalt paving, but then yesterday I saw it looked like a big change. Now it's all, it was set up for concrete pouring, and today concrete was poured. I do have a big question on why the practically new cement slab right at the front gate was torn out, and whatever that cost, so that this new cement could be poured through there for this sidewalk that goes all along the side of the court. Seemed like a waste of money to tear out almost new concrete. And the thing is, you would not know about any of this at this meeting until right now, and I think the commission should get better information in advance, just in case you have comments, questions, want to challenge something that's going on, want to make recommendations to do something different. And I think the commission is being essentially kind of left out of these decisions, and you'll hear about it in the September meeting when it's all done, this is all over with, the tournament is over. I am hoping, though, that in the September meeting you will get an audited accounting of all of the total revenue from rental and donations coming in from this pickleball tournament, so that you know how good or whatever this tournament has been for Fitchburg after Fitchburg was coerced, whatever you want to call it, convinced into spending $35,000 to add these amenities, extra things beyond functionable pickleball courts that were built a couple of years ago for over $300,000, and now another $35,000 of city money. And what is this tournament really going to be worth to us? And are they going to make any donations at this tournament that makes it worthwhile for Fitchburg? So that's my points.
Thank you. Your comments?
Should I respond to that? Actually, what Patrick is referring to was on the May 4th agenda of the Park Commission, where we were looking to amend the park fee fund for the additional pickle court amenities, which the Park Commission did approve, but then it failed at the Common Council, but then the Common Council brought it back up, and then they approved it. And actually, it was a $35,000 amenities for additional wind slats, concrete patio that will run north and south on the eastern side of the courts. This will provide a gathering resting spot for players. And then we did order some additional picnic tables similar to the picnic tables that we have at the splash pad. So the Park Commission did see this in Resolution R 8423 in May, and you did approve it, but then it failed at the council, but then it was brought to the council, and then they approved it.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
All right, so,
And then the other, if I may, the other public appearance is not an agenda item. It was a late addition. The Fitchburg Library. They're looking to do a little free library at the Southdale Park. And what I did is Wendy and her staff did present a memo regarding it. They do want to install it this month, so it was really kind of a late. I didn't have a chance to get it onto the agenda, but typically we bring little free libraries to the Park Commission. But I definitely wanted to make sure that you were aware of it, and it's not an official action, but certainly, receive a consensus that, this sounds like a good idea, and we can go forward with it.
maybe what we'll do,
Scott, it's going in the park.
It's going in the park right adjacent to where they have the bike repair station. We're looking to put it in that area so it doesn't, restrict mowing and those kinds of things.
I think it's a great idea, and given the fact that we're dealing with another city department, I can't think of a reason to hand out any restrictions, and it's just something between staff. Is there anyone else that'd like to comment? Dave?
Could I comment?
Please.
Yeah, just, Scott, I'm all for this too. Just make sure they contact Digger's Hotline before they put the post in. I think that's standard practice. And second, can you ask the library, the little free library over by Belmar, the door got ripped off, and I don't know what the mechanism for repair on any of these is, but I hate to have the door ripped off, and so that's the only comment. I think it's a great idea to put the little free library down there.
Well, and typically what we do, Dave, with Little Free Libraries is the person that sponsors it or placed it there, they're responsible for the maintenance and those kinds of things. I don't know who placed, what did the Belmar, I gotta find out about the Belmar Park one. I don't know if that came to the Park Commission or not.
I don't know if it's that.
Let me check.
I don't know if it's at Belmar or if it's on Chapel Valley. Could you do that? Thank you, Scott.
I'll check into it. Thank you.
somewhere
Yeah.
at some point, someone told me they make free little library boxes, and I think there's someone out there that makes free ones, so I'll keep looking for that, and if I find that contact, I'll give it to you in
Sure.
case you need some.
Sure.
Okay.
So we're good with the library at Southdale the way it sounds.
I'm seeing heads nodding in agreement.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
There were 2 verbal yeses, 2 heads nodding in agreement.
Well, and Christopher emailed that he.
Oh, okay.
He was.
And an email.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm nodding my head too, you just can't see me.
Okay, got it. Affirmative consensus.
Thank you.
Okay, so 4, review and approve agenda. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda, so complicated as it is?
We'll move to approve the agenda.
Okay, a second? I'll second it.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we'll give it to Dave. Okay. All right, I've got no discussion. Nobody's offering any discussion. Those in favor of the agenda as written? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
That carries. Item 5, action items, we do not have any listed. Item 6, discussion action items, we have nothing listed. Item 7, communication. Go ahead, Scott.
I just wanted to update the Park Commission that the tree preservation ordinance actually recommended by the Park Commission was approved by the council. So congratulations to Tree Advisory Committee and Anna, and certainly Sue participated in that, so that's a nice step forward for tree preservation. The next one, Park and Open Space Plan update. Brad Sipple from the Planning Department, he does have his draft plan ready. Mayor Julio Radafrada provided some input, so Brad is working to get that injected into the plan. His thought is that he'd like to get it to the Park Commission sooner rather than later, hopefully by the end of the week or the first part of next week, to give the Park Commission a chance to take a look at it, and then we come back to the commission in September. One question I do have for the commission: would you see a public meeting independent of the Park Commission as part of the process for the approval? That was one question that the planning department had, whether we wanted to have a public meeting to introduce, it really is, last time we did it was really kind of a reboot in different format and all of that. This is really, certainly there's some additional things in there, but it's really more of an update of the previous update. But certainly, if you feel that we should go to the public as part of the approval process, I guess that's what I'm wondering what your thoughts might be on that.
Dave, are you looking to comment?
Yeah, I would prefer to just have it at the parks. Would be at our Parks Commission meeting rather than a separate one. I think that would be more effective. People know more about it, but I'll defer to the other board members.
Did we have some kind of public input meeting a year and a half ago when we started this sort of revamp? I'm not certain, but I feel like we had some kind of meeting, but I might be thinking of something else.
That may have been, that couldn't have, if you're remembering that, Chris, you weren't here when we updated the 2015 one.
No.
So that probably is I can't recall. They all kind of blend together, but certainly we can have, a public hearing as part of the Park Commission meeting.
That seems like that would be efficient and open, certainly open enough.
Right.
And
Right.
I know right around the time Chris joined, we were working on it and seeing it a lot. And there may have been people who came and commented. having seen it on the agenda.
That's a good point.
Or I mean, or it just could have been that we did have something public, but either way, we were going over it a lot.
And we did receive
many
some
months in a row.
Did receive some,
public input.
yeah, we did.
Yeah.
And through what venue, I don't remember, but we did receive some. So yeah, I agree. I think if it's just a regular agenda item, I don't think it needs a standalone meeting.
Anybody else wish to comment? Heidi?
No, I mean, I was just going to agree with Chris. I feel like if it's on the agenda, people who have interest in this, if they want to come and comment, they can. But I mean, I feel like everything we do is fairly open. So I don't think a special meeting is needed.
Excellent. Terra Vesta Egg Park, what I'm doing is working internally. The Park Commission did approve the preliminary or the draft, if you would, of the plan. So what I'm doing is I'm working now with city staff, the idea of creating a phasing of phase one. And if you remember, phase one was basically the part at close to Goodland Road. So the idea of potentially phasing phase one, and then also, as we really need to begin to start to factor into our discussions and decisions, is how is this going to be managed? How is it going to be maintained? Those kinds of things. And some of the thoughts that I have is that, it may end up being a service provider who could, in theory, maintain and manage the egg park along with the other community gardens that we currently have. So that might be another component to the final package of certainly what is going to be the phasing, but then how are we going to manage and maintain the facility. And I guess I would kind of parallel it similar to the agreement that we have at the Nine Springs Golf Course, where we have a contract with someone to provide those services for us. We don't have to do it, but it's an operational expense to manage those resources for us. So that's kind of an update of where we're at, where we are with that one. The Stoner Prairie, actually what I'm beginning to start to do is work on, we've got the draft plan, but now what we need to do is get into the details of what the shelter is going to look like, what the playground is going to look like, and those kinds of things. So the idea of having someone come in and help decide what those amenities are going to specifically look like, and once we have that figured out, then we'll go ahead and get someone on board to do the construction documents and help us get it bid, and then manage the construction of it until it's completed. So those are kind of the things we're working on with the Stoner Prairie Park plan. Hillside Heights Playground fence update. We did, because of what I felt was the immediacy of the safety concerns that the residents had. We did have Parks and Public Works. What they did do is they did install a temporary snow fence, a straight line fence between the playground and the stormwater facility. And I haven't heard anything from the neighbors about that. So one of the things that I was wondering about is, where does that fence start and where does it end? And apparently, I haven't heard anything that the fence that we have placed there is, too short, if you would. It seems to be favorable to the neighbors as far as where the fence is located.
I have a comment. I did go there this afternoon to look, and just offering my opinion here, I think it would benefit the park to continue it further west, thinking ahead towards Fish Hatchery Road. Towards Fish Hatchery Road, from where it ends now.
Towards Fish Hatchery.
Right now, it ends right where there's a couple of evergreen trees that sort of create an additional natural block between the park and the pond. But that's the variety of spruce tree that's prone to, I had to write it down because I always forget, Rhizosphaera needlecast, which is a fatal disease. they don't look like they're dying, but there's 4 coming down in Wildwood Park, 2 have been dead for a while in Wildwood South. So I would say if we're spending money to put in a fence, continue it further with the assumption that someday those trees will be gone and people are gonna ask for more fence, because now you'll have more of an open playfield if those trees do die and have to be removed.
Well, I guess what I'm working towards is what is the final plan?
Right, well, that's what you're right, I'm talking about that, because the one neighbor who spoke about not just the playground, but kids playing volleyball or kicking a ball around, if they're gonna be prone to want to catch the ball that is now floating in the pond, if you can have a fence that keeps that from happening. So that's the reason I'm suggesting what I'm suggesting. It's just an opinion.
Sure.
Okay. Anybody? Dave?
I paced it when I was there, and I can't picture where those spruce trees are, but I didn't think you had to go very far past the border of the park itself I didn't think it had to go real far from there. I don't know how far it is from those spruce trees, but the thing with balls too, we have a fence, they can kick it over the top just as easy. But I'm not opposed, but I certainly don't want it full length of the pond.
Right, yeah.
I think I don't think it helps us that much, and maybe we're setting a precedent that we don't need to.
Noted, yeah. Going a little bit further, I wouldn't go the full length of the pond, but thank you. Scott, go ahead. I don't think anybody else has any comments.
Very good.
That was Hillside Heights. That's it. So we're on to staff reports.
Yes.
I did not have any questions on staff reports. Is there anything you want to say, or you just want us to note that we read them and we...
That's fair.
Okay. And then, so future agenda items, fitness equipment donation. You want to tell us about?
Yes, we did receive, we haven't accepted it officially, but it's like a Ninja Warrior circuit training fitness equipment, which has 8 different stations. So, the mayor is aware of this, and what she's asking the park commission to do is to come up with a recommendation on where to place this equipment. So what Jordan and I will do is we'll go out and kind of look at a couple different spots that we think might be a good location, and we'll put the footprint of how large it's going to be, and then bring it back to the park commission for your thoughts and ideas on that.
You're looking at a few different parks as options.
Yes, we'll look at like 3 or 4 different parks, and certainly, if you've got ideas where you think it might be a good fit, let me know, and we could certainly look at that. But the parks that we're going to look at is McKee's, Swan Creek, Southdale. There may have been one other one, but like I say, it's probably 60 or 70 feet wide and maybe 100 or 150 feet long. But it's like a circuit training with eight amenities or eight kind of exercises in there. So, and really, what we're beginning to start to do too now is with Southdale Park. I'm reaching out to the neighbors, and what is going to be the eventual plan for the Southdale Park. And I'm thinking we're going to want to come up with some ideas or some concepts sooner rather than later, because we do have some dollars allocated for next year, but this might be a potential amenity that could be included in Southdale, and where would it go? Well, if we do decide to put it in Southdale, we want to keep in mind that there's going to be some future improvements and developments in Southdale, and we want to make sure that we don't step on our toes, if you would. So that's a tough one, though. But
In that vein, Scott, I think there was some interest expressed at Stoner Prairie too for some similar type of equipment.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it may be premature for there, and maybe it won't fit in the plan very well, but it could be worth looking at.
Right. Well, and there's nothing to say that we can't carve up the 8 amenities, if you would, because they're individual. They're individual climbers or jumpers or whatever it might be. So, because I know they did mention that, so to put 1 or 2 of those Ninja Warrior components in Stoner Prairie, that, and then, that's a good thought. That's a good thought. So that'll be forthcoming at a future meeting. And then also before the end of the year, I think I mentioned when we talked about the budget that the community center rental cancellation policy, we're looking to make an amendment to that. What we have currently is that if you cancel closer than 30 days to your event, then you get no money back. But what we're thinking about doing is instead of doing that we would just keep $25, if you would, instead of losing the whole rental fee. The thought is that it's going to be tough for us to, someone might cancel the day before or 2 days before, and it's going to be tough for us to, but not too many people cancel. So it'll be difficult to re-reserve the facility, if you would. And here's another thing that I just thought about. Someone called and said, "Hey, we got the splash pad shade structure rented for Sunday, and it looks like it's going to be bad weather. Can we move it to a different day?" I'm going, dang on. So okay, it's a bad day. I'm going to cancel my park shelter reservation today, and I get 20. I guess I'm just being. I understand that it doesn't, and if that begins to start to happen, then we may need to relook at it again. But
Yeah.
I would anticipate that it would. But
Right. Dave, did you want to comment?
Scott, please keep. Yeah, I did. Scott, please keep in mind, this is a supply and demand thing. Those are in demand. And I realize things come up, but you're right. We can't fill them back in, and I think if you state a policy and say if the cancellation occurs, whether it's 30 days or 15 days or whatever, that you don't get it back. I think that's fine. These facilities are very much in demand.
yeah, that'll be forthcoming. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Or you keep it and they can maybe use it at a future date. Yeah. That's a tough one.
Well, and that's a good point. Say, hey, okay, no, we're not going to. You get a credit towards a future rental or something.
That's an idea.
Yeah.
So we don't lose the money, if you would. That's a good thought.
Yeah, I don't know of any communities that don't have some sort of penalty for canceling. So I think it's reasonable. I guess it's just a matter of, how much you penalize, because, if you look at any parks in Dane County, you're going to be hard pressed for this next month to find any sort of park shelter or anything.
That's right.
So I think it's just an idea to be a little bit more friendly, if you would, and those times when they call and say, hey, we just can't make it. Well, instead of saying sorry, say, well, you know what, we can work with you and give you a partial refund back, because we understand that situations do come up once in a while. So that'll be another item before the end of the year.
All right. 10, announcements. Our next 2 commission meetings, 6 p.m. on September 7th and October 5th. Motion to adjourn.
I'll move to adjourn.
A second?
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
Thanks for your time, everybody.
6:31. Thank you.
Have a great night.
Yep, you too, you guys.
Thank you.